Hey, what's up everybody, Scotty here. Welcome back to another episode of Pillars of Eternity. This time we're going to do a new task.
Hail, traveler.
Speak to Niah, whatever, in Ondra'sGift. She's located right here, just a little bit east of the lighthouse.
Good day to you.
Take your trouble finding workers. Workers aren't superstitious, cowards anyways. Lighthouse is haunted ever since the floods of Ondra'sGift. Ondra'sGift was flooded? Back at the end of the War of Defiance, it was once one of the finishing blows to the Adarian military. I hope to say the lighthouse keeper was one of the people who stayed behind and the last to die. I don't know what makes the lighthouse any more haunted than the rest of the gift. Have you gone inside? With me? Not exactly. I can take a look. I have some questions. Do you know what might be inside? She doesn't know. What are you building? Tell me about the flooding. Oh wait, kind of skipped that. Tell me about the flooding. You're not from Tobias Bay, are you? Alright, and that's gonna start Wailing Banshee quest. Before you come here, make sure you're well rested. The battles aren't too hard, but there's just a ton of enemies.
Of course.
You can loot every bit of this.
I can do that.
Position your party before going in.
Hey.
Send your tank in first. As soon as you pick up the loot in this chest, enemies are going to spawn.
Huh?
Hey.
Alright. When you're ready to go to the next floor, position your party here. As a matter of fact, position it as far back to the wall as possible.
Huh?
Take your tank and save before you do this, because it is kind of a nuisance. And there's gonna be a lot of enemies that spawn, and they're, you know, at this point of the game, if you've been following what I've been doing, you're not gonna be able to one-shot them. So as soon as you step over here, all these guys spawn. So keep positioning your party back to the wall.
All right then.
After you do that, go to this next floor. I'd say level 2 is probably the most challenging out of them all, despite the boss is on the next floor. After this, I'm probably going to rest again. But on this floor, use the same strategy. Go up against the wall as much as possible. Don't go too far, because there's a bunch over here, and there's a bunch down in here.
You can trust me. Hey. Hey there. Hey.
Yeah, just follow the strategy and you'll do fine. You don't have to worry about any enemies spawning out of the stuff that you pick up. another book, if you care to read it. Evacuation notice. Daring reinforcements advancing immediately. Immediate evacuation of Ondra'sGift by order of Duke Hadrick. You get the key. This door right here was actually locked. Now we have the key to unlock it. Alright, I'm gonna rest. Okay, well that's new. So we'll go through this. I guess we'll go ahead and speak with him. It's going to be an ongoing quest anyways.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door.
Tell me what you saw. It is the light of the Godhammer you saw.
It was a weapon of Deerwood's people, a symbol of their independence.
The Godhammer,
It saved
I
the
think it was
Deerwood.
used to kill a god. Was it Barath? Was it Wodika? Oh man, I forgot. It was the god. I think it was the god who was once a farmer.
It brought the Saints' War to an end, knocked a god from his perch. There are few that would deny Aothis overstepped. The Godhammer reminded Aothis of it.
That was the god.
You saw its light because I helped shape it, give it life, and release it into the world. Once seen, its glory is almost too bright to be believed, and too bright to be forgotten. There were 12 of us. We fashioned the weapon, drafted plans for it, prayed for guidance at Ashfall, and it came to me there. Each of us were given a staff made from the forest of black trees around us, glowing with embers and fire far greater than this branch you see now. It felt as if the staff was Margaren's own finger, guiding my hand, guiding the other 11, the shadows of the 12 who had come to stand on the bridge to stop Aothis. Even in that stand, there was a ritual to it. For the 12 that stood on the bridge, there were a dozen shadows cast, a dozen faithful of Margaren, her fiercest supporters and shapers of the Godhammer. As 12 held Aothis fast, we 12 unleashed our prayers and let the Godhammer fall. Shadows cast by the fire of the Godhammer, perhaps. We shared their fate as well in time. Now the spine of the Deerwood is marked by the Godhammer, marked by Margaret. Not all deaths come with stilled breath and stilled heart, or other stilled passions beneath the waste. The connection we once shared with Margaret, after the light of the Godhammer, it was not the same.
How could it be?
It was as if we'd lost our senses, and sense of purpose as well. Instead of... Not many can claim to have killed a god. It is less a heroic tale than you would think. And such a death, it changed our faith. All faiths, I expect. Doubt followed, and the world changed. I do not believe Margaren was pleased by what we... The world is broken. The wheel stilled. There is sickness in the world's heart, crossing two gods. Even as Margaren shaped our hands, perhaps we carried her will farther than was allowed. Just as Widewind did. Saint Widewind. Mortal arrogance to match mortal arrogance. Yet if the world had changed, then I sought to change with it. If I had forgotten some of Margaren's teachings, I would find them again. I would make her see me again. I remembered Margaren's teachings, how reminders on the flesh were more important than the death of a vessel. And I wondered if killing Aothis If that had simply set him free, had it allowed him to escape his punishment and be taken on the wheel like a mortal? As I stepped from the now blessed Godhammer Bridge, I thought of Ashfall. I thought of the War of Black Trees, wondered if I needed to be burned to find myself again. That is Margaret at her heart. At least that is my hope. The road to Ashfall is long. Gives one time to think. If you think long enough, you do not go home. I left without telling anyone, with only the robes I wore at Halgot, my staff, and my name. Of my fellow 11 craftsmen, disciples, I know not what happened to them, if they suffered the same doubt as I did. But it was underserved. It was wrong. We had done all that all had asked. Grab victory from defeat and there is something about being used and cast aside. Perhaps Widewen himself felt it. There at the end, when the hammer struck. To be the proof that I tried to find purpose, and avoided all contact with other Magranic priests. Did not seek the walls of Ashfall, and sought to make amends to my god through... I joined with the Purges for a time, and not long after came the first signs of the Hollowborn. So many crimes, trespasses, violations. The Salvation. Animancers were another sickness born of the Saints' War. A relapse of innovation, of desperation to heal what we had caused. All seemed worse than before the bridge, not better. And as years passed, the world became even worse still for the victory. Worship the whims of some fickle bitch, and you'll never be more than dirt beneath her feet. Worship what she worships, on the other hand. Take her fire for your own, and her esteem comes on its own. Of course, by that time, you no longer need it. Trial and transfer... You think to put the coals to my feet, but what's burned once will never burn again. These talks are your trial. You cannot deflect the truth to one who has already been purified by it.
Well, he's out of dialogue now, surprisingly.
We put much of ourselves into the Godhammer. Such a device is not simply a machine. There are elements of the spirit in it. Even we all studied Widewen. He was our enemy, and he had provided the flesh the god wore as a cloak. That flesh made him vulnerable. I knew what fields his hands had tilled, his family, what he had harvested. You don't kill the god. You kill the man it inhabits. And you leave that man a ruin. Burn him to ash. The weapon was meant. Perhaps your eyes were blinded by the truth of the Godhammer, Watcher. I feel half a man at times. If you fear for my spirit, your fears are baseless. The Godhammer, seeing its light, only fueled my anger and made me stronger. Made me re-examine the teachings of Margaret. Put them in a new light.
Maybe that's why you feel the way you do. Yep.
I do not need you to cast any more questions on me, Watcher. Nor did I ask you to look upon me without my leave.
Hey.
Well, that was a lot. So pretty much they built that weapon and it had dire consequences. Although they defeated the living god, which ended one war. They now have the war of Waidwin's legacy to deal with, which is probably worse than what they had to deal with before. Alright, this back them up way over here. Pretty much do the same thing. Just attack. It's not gonna. I'll give you the dialogue, but it's not gonna matter. Kind of a long battle, but it ain't too bad. Alright, see, this one of these where this is a nice a nice cape, cloak, whatever you want to call it. It's another book. It's Adarian dialects. We've already familiar with that. Right here is where you get an updated logbook. Right here. First Tarleton 2672. Dark clouds, Adarian ships on the horizon. 173 days since sighting the Red Dream.
I can do that. That's settled.
You'll want to unlock this because this is some very good armor. 20% at 8 damage reduction, plus 4 damage reduction and survival. That's very, very good.
Hey.
Alright, and pretty much just return back to Niah. You get a lot of experience for doing this quest too. That last battle went really well because all the enemies didn't attack all at once. I guess I was within their range to aggro. And Niah's right here.
Welcome.
There's the Spirit of Steers, got rid of it. 6,300 quest experience. And Defiance Bay measure positive and 1,000 silver. Copper. Very, very good. Very nice. That's going to conclude this episode. Thank you for watching.